Thank you so much. All right. So, my name is Carl, as you already heard, and I represent let's say, the future of energy efficient backup and archive for data-intensive industries. So, why do I say that? Because in history, we always find a more cost-efficient way to do things. And now we have come into the market with a better way to store your archive and backup data. So let me tell you a bit about us. Our solution is in two parts. Firstly, we have the hardware, and then we have the software. Now the software is and the hardware is made by Western Digital. We are in close cooperation with them in this, and we are helping them to, let's say, market this product. And the software is our own distributed file system, which is called Sauna FS. And this is now changed a bit to fit this specific new hardware that Western Digital has. So, and altogether, these both solutions, the software plus hardware, equals approximately 1/3 of the price and at least 43% reduction in the electricity usage. So, to get a bit more technical, a few years ago, Western Digital, they came out with this new hard drive, which is called the SMR drive. Now, this means that this means shingled magnetic recording, and as you can see in this picture on the left here, there is this hard drive. The conventional drives, the tracks that you write your data on, are next to each other, right? But the problem is you have the standardized drive size, so the drive cannot be bigger. So if you want to fit more data, you have to get creative. So that's what Western Digital did, and they put these tracks overlapping each other. So you can visualize it like the roof shingles of a stone roof. So they're basically overlapping a bit with each other, and this means they can fit data more densely on this drive. And this equals up to 18% more data on the same size drive, which is huge because the drive still takes the same amount of electricity, right? And the second thing we have is per our request, Western Digital, they implemented this specific pin here that allows us to see each of these drives individually. And this means, we can see all of the information that was, who wrote on the drive, what was written, when it was written, and so on. But more importantly, in archive and backup storage case, we can now see the individual drive. We can assess if it's being used, if it's not being used. And if it's not being used, we can switch off the individual drive. As in opposition to let's say, the legacy solution right now with conventional drives, you're going to have to switch off the entire server. So it's tens, even hundreds of drives that you have to be switching off. But now we can do it individually throughout your whole storage. So this is new, and as you can see here, we have put the number 25% less energy usage here. So altogether, these two things, they equal up this 43% that I showed here before. But I want to tell you that this is the base. The 25% is the baseline of the savings. So if it's your storage, it's going to be 43% less plus. Plus, if you don't use the data at all, it's going to be much, much higher. So just so you know. And technically, there is a reason for that, but I don't have time to get into it right now. And we actually have next week, 28th, we have coming up a tech talk with Western Digital, and our chief engineer will be speaking there also. So if you want to check it out, go check it out. I can share the invitation because we will go in depth there, and you can see why or where these numbers come from. Okay. So our solution is basically made for these sectors. It's just to illustrate the scope of what we do. So in media and post-production, production, there is a lot of data that has to be archived, and maybe it's not even used, but it is there, and it has to be packed up maybe even many times. Oil and gas, it's similar to geospatial, so they have lots of geological data, all of the scans of the Earth's crust, where is the oil and gas located, and so on. This is huge blocks of data, also have to be archived, backed up many times. Then we have the healthcare. Fun fact about the healthcare, X-rays. Currently we have X-ray machines, and we are tuning down the quality of the pictures we're making with these machines because of the cost of the storage. So this is something we want to reduce significantly, so we can actually utilize the whole range of the quality that we can get out of these pictures. The next we have smart cities, video surveillance. So this is pretty self-explanatory. So video surveillance, they're going to need to keep this for a certain period of time. And this means it will probably never be used. It will be sitting there just taking space. And with the conventional hard drive, this taking space also means it will take electricity at the same time. Then there's public archives, of course, because they're archives, all different sorts of backups. Then next two are basically the same thing. We have the research and development, which have huge amount of research data that has to be, again, backed up and archived and referenced. And then we have the geospatial and telecommunications. Telecommunications is a bit harder because each telecom has their own specific setup. So this depends. Right. Now, let's talk about data a bit. As you can see here, currently the storage industry has overtaken the aviation industry in the CO2 emissions globally. They are approximately at the same ballpark right now, but the data is growing exponentially every year, so this will be taken over soon. And one data center, it takes about as much energy as 50,000 homes. So if we roughly half the energy consumption as we can do, we can save energy for 25,000 homes. But again, this is rough numbers, right? Just to illustrate my point. Here you can see a graph of our exponential data growth. And yeah, this means in 2025, we have 3 times more data than in 2020. So, and in 2035, this will be, again, multiplied many times. So the data growth is insane. And a lot of it is in backups, because sometimes companies, they have their data, then they have their backup data, and then they have 2 backups for this backup data, just because, for example, if you're a financial company, you need to hold this information and back it up many times because, God forbid, something happens, right? So let's move on to Africa. Africa, let's say, in the lens of data storage. It is a bustling and growing market. It is every year new data centers are popping up all over Africa. Here you can see just some biggest countries in the data storage industry. So these are the numbers of data centers in each country, and these are multiplying in a fast pace. And the market right now, it is projected to double by 2030, which is big. And then that's also why I am here right now talking to you about this, because the future is data heavy in Africa for sure. Some other metrics and the main drivers for this data growth. Firstly, Africa's population is booming, and this means everything is growing. And this logically means that the data itself is growing too. And the data-intensive industries are specifically in Africa are oil and gas. And for example, Nigeria just signed a deal with Germany to sell their LNG. So yeah, this is a bustling market. Then we have research and development, also a growing market there. Healthcare, which makes sense because the more people, the more you need healthcare. And then there's media and also the government institutions, so archives, public archives, and also kind of security institutions. And then on top of that, Africa is rapidly digitalization is happening in Africa rapidly right now. And this combines with locality and sovereignty trends, meaning that, first of all, you're digitalizing. And secondly, all of this data has to be or should be kept in this country, in your country, or in this case, we're talking about the continent. So in the continent. And this means this is something specifically for us, because our solution is specifically meant to be on premises. Right. So some challenges that we are facing. Firstly, energy consumption is growing rapidly with all of this growth that I mentioned before. And we try to be one of the solutions for this problem. And secondly, if you're growing rapidly, you want to do it as sustainably as possible, because if you don't do it sustainably, then you're going to have a problem in the long run. But it's not all the challenges. There is some good points here, because for example, you don't have any legacy infrastructure. For example, in Europe, it's a problem. We have old tapes that are being used. And it's hard to switch between infrastructures. And it takes time, it takes money. But if you don't have a legacy infrastructure stretching back in tens of years, then you can just leapfrog and bypass all this old technology and leapfrog into the modern solutions. And this is vital for the growth. And secondly, as there is digitalization happening, there is not that much data migration needed. We just have to digitalize everything, right? So there is also this one. So how can Leil help with this? Well, we are, as you can see on this beautiful graph that I made, we are trying to save money per terabyte. So as you can see, your data storage market is growing exponentially, which means if you save money on each terabyte, then the savings will also grow exponentially. And all of these funds can be redirected to better places these funds are actually needed. And this is the main, point that I want to make and reiterate here, because you need to be sustainable, as I said, and also you need to spend your funds smartly. And also, I wanted to just bring out these Sustainable Development Goals by the EU, and 3 of them specifically that we can help with. Firstly, we are building this number 9 in the middle here. We're building new infrastructure that will be usable for a long period, and this helps here. And then we have number 12, which is responsible consumption and production. So the less you use power, the better. And number 7, which is affordable and clean energy. So, and this, for us, this means that if you use less energy, then, it's more affordable. All right, so with that in mind, I wanted to talk about our green storage initiative for Africa. So we have created a special price tier only for Africa, and this has these benefits. Firstly, we have unrivaled costs per terabyte in a month. It's €2 per terabyte, but this comes with certain points. Firstly, this is for capacity starting only for 10 petabytes and up. Secondly, there is 3 to 5 years contract, and the payment will be upfront. Now, this upfront payment will include all costs. So you have hardware, software, support, upgrades, and installation. Everything is included in this price. What is not included is the freight customs. So all of the duties on top of that, which we cannot predict at the moment. So I invite you to launch the green rocket in Africa together with this initiative. So yes. And that basically concludes my presentation. I ran through it fast. So if you're ready to make your data storage greener in Africa, then hit me up and we can do it. So maybe is there any question from the crowd? I have some time for that now.
Do we have questions? So the good thing is, after covering how we had the session, Carl, about how optimizing CPU, and now, so you were able to complete actually the covering all the aspects with the storage and how we efficiently can store data for archiving and backup reasons. The topic green has marked this first edition of the event. And we've seen that with the help of the Lail stores, you can reach costs that are really, really unbeatable in terms like €2 per terabyte. Is actually something that is that can compete actually against a solution that doesn't use electricity anymore.
Exactly, because our solution is basically made to almost not use electricity at all. If you're not using your data, then the drives will all be shut off, and the only thing taking electricity are the heads, or the, let's say, brains of the server, right? And that's it, if you're not using it at all. So it's basically equivalent to the tapes we have.
Yeah. So in last March, I was able to see the discs that Alexander and at that time with David in CloudFest, we've seen that. Really precision work you've done.
Thank you. And that's why we're doing it with Western Digital hand to hand, because actually a good point is that at this point, these SMR drives that I was talking about, I'll go back there, they are a novel solution, and nobody has them in use other than the really big players. So the really big players, for example, we know that Dropbox is using these drives.
Yeah.
But they will not sell you this solution to use these drives, because the drives, they are built different. So you cannot use them in your conventional storage software right now. You need special drivers to use them. But for that, you need to research and develop these drives. And this takes time, money, and people, and expertise. But for example, Dropbox, they did all of that, but why would they sell it to you? They can just tell you that, come to Dropbox, buy from Dropbox, right? Yeah. They will not sell the market edge that they have at the moment. So this is why we're doing it with Western together. And that's why I was referencing this talk, because as you can see here, we have this talk coming up with them about these drives specifically, because this is really important for them and for us. And it's the new age of data storage.
Yeah, sure. Definitely, yeah. So that means when you have one device who's 50 or 30% up and the rest is switched off, is
exactly.
Really, yeah.
And if there is a question about switching them back on, that's why this is specifically made for data archive and backup, because the switching on the drive again, it takes about 11 seconds. Right. So for fast storage, it's not going to work, but archive, this is completely fine.
Yeah.
Because it's already faster than the tapes. The tapes machine will take minutes.
Yeah. Excellent. Thanks, Carl. Thanks for the presentation.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Hope that next year we see you here in person.
Likewise.
Yeah.